Hello and welcome to another video from Sustenance Uncovered, the only YouTube channel you need to not only survive the current apocalypse, but actually enjoy it. And today we're going to be talking about survivalist versus prepper. And the reason that's so amazing is because just a few days ago I didn't know there was a difference. But there is. So we're going to discuss what the difference is. First off, if you are in an airplane flying over the Andes and you crash into the snow, and the nearest village is 100 miles away, best to be a survivalist, because that's a guy that can take a pocket knife and make some fire and get him some food. If you are experience a nuclear biological attack from the mean Al-Qaeda, then it's best to be a prepper, where you can go down in your bunker and just eat food for 3 or 4 months until you gotta come up when the radiation's over. Now, the only problem with those two scenarios is both of them are fake. The first one is just something that network corporations come up with to sell some kind of stupid reality shows. That's not even something that's ever going to happen. And if you think it is, just don't get in no airplane that's flying over the Alps. No reason to talk about stupid stuff. The next scenario about the Al-Qaeda with the nuclear bombs, that is a totally imagined fiction created by the government to trick little boys into joining the army so they can go fight for freedom and democracy. Both of them scenarios don't even need any discussion. However, the end of the world as we know it, known as Teotihuacan, that's an acronym for the end of the world as we know it, that's very real, and it's coming. It's coming soon. And so we're talking about which one is the best for Teotihuacan, survivalist or prepper. You see, the reason I'm bringing this up is I just saw a video the other day where somebody was talking about it, and man, the comments below the video were very passionate. So there are some very opinionated opinions about which is the best. I did see a few in there that said that they should be both. I've always thought of myself as both. Can't imagine picking one over the other, but rather than discuss what I'm going to do or what you're going to do or what a prepper is going to do, survivalist is going to do, let's talk about what people did here the last time there was a Teotihuacan. That's right, this won't be the first one. Teotihuacan is simply an elimination of the entire infrastructure that we have depended on for 100 years now being gone. That's no more Walmart to get you groceries, no more power plant to give you heat and air condition. No more water treatment plant, sewage treatment plant. All the things that we need to survive, food, water, shelter, transportation, so on and so forth, they got to come from some other source. It may interest you to know that when the first Europeans got here, those conditions already existed. Native Americans didn't have Walmart when Columbus come ashore to enslave them. They didn't have a water treatment plant, sewage treatment plants. They knew how to go to the bathroom without a factory. So here's what happened. Columbus, well, many people come over to the United States, and I guess archaeologists are proving now that, yeah, the Vikings came over, and they had some Germans and some Swedes and some Chinese people, so on and so forth, Polynesians. And this explains a lot of why the tribes look different. Some of the tribes kind of look just like white people. But when Columbus was sent, he wasn't just coming over here looking for a place to hang out. He was on a mission from the government to enslave, or as it's explained on Columbus Day, to conquer the New World. And the reason for that is that the people that were over here were brown, so it's all right to conquer anybody that's not white and enslave them. At least that used to be the theory. So sure enough, they locked up a whole bunch of Indians and started putting them out to do work, and I'm talking about some really stupid work, you know, digging for gold, growing tobacco, just the most ridiculous junk, unnecessary stuff in the world. Last thing I want to enslave somebody for. But as soon as the Indians get out, well, they just take off running. You know, Native Americans, they knew the names of every plant that existed out there, every tree, every bush. They knew all the animals. They knew how to catch them. They knew how to process them into edible meals, and they knew how to eat them. So that would make them a survivalist. Everybody knows, I mean, even today, everybody recognizes a Native American would have qualified as a survivalist. What you may not know is that they were also preppers. To this day, farmers are accidentally digging up little caches of food, you know, leather sacks with pemmican in it and so on and so forth, dried fruits and vegetables, things like that. And some of it's still edible. So you cannot argue with the fact that the Native Americans were both survivalists and preppers. Now, when the Native Americans got away from Columbus and he couldn't enslave them, well, when he went back home, they put Columbus in prison. And that stuck in his craw, but it carried forth. You know, the Spanish claimed that they owned the land, and then the French, and then the British, and then the elitists of America were able to break free from them, and they claimed to own the land. And that still was kind of a sore spot for them. No matter which government took over, they were all mad because the Indians would not be their slaves. And so a program was initiated by people that were pretty smart. They said, you know what, if them Indians can get everything they need out of the forest, let's just get rid of the forest. So they cut down the trees, and my great-grandfather was part of that. Him and his crews and whatever crews went through and just absolutely decimated this land. They destroyed every living thing they could find. Had some people that all they concentrated on was killing buffaloes. Some people, all they did was cut down trees, and other people dammed up rivers. And you know what? It worked, because even though the Native Americans were preppers and survivalists, eventually they were willing to go into an internment camp because they had no food. And here's the bad news. The forest and such that existed back then, even that's gone now, so the land is more destroyed now than it was when they were able to enslave those Native Americans. And here we are, 4 or 5 generations down the road, 10 generations down the road, a lot of Native Americans still to this day choose to live in the internment camps as opposed to becoming slaves. But they're no longer able to just live off of their survivalist things or their prepper things. They have to depend on food stamps, just like a lot of us. Not just food stamps, but they got gardens, and they got chickens, and they got goats, and so on and so forth. And yet nobody's getting passionately aroused over whether or not it's better to be a farmer or a gardener, you know, somebody raises livestock or somebody that keeps plants, because most people that are into that, they do both. And in fact, I know there's more people like me. I've seen a few of them on YouTube. I have a garden. I got chickens. I go hunting. I go trapping. I got a big old, at least a year's supply of food for me and my wife. And all kinds of books about edible wild plants. There's hardly a day that I go in the woods I don't reach over and grab something and put it in my mouth. I think that if a person looks at that example and they looked at what's coming on us, is going to be just like what came on them Indians. Because, I mean, you know that we've had 6 world powers. You know, Egypt, Assyria, Medo-Persia, Babylon, Greece, Rome. And then now there's this one, the Anglo-American World Empire, which is the United States. And now the United States is already talking about the New World Order. That'll be like an 8th world power. And you're going to have a lot more to deal with than just finding food, because every government that's ever been established was established with the same thing. You know, we're going to give, it's a big old parade, we're going to give you food, we're going to give you water, we're going to give you freedom and democracy and patriotism and all them things that people want. And what is the worst thing about it is people are going to fall for it again. And those are the people that's going to look at you with your year's supply of food, and they're going to make up a law that storing food is illegal because it's hoarding, and you're going to have to do a lot more than dealing with just food. You're going to have to be dealing with a lot of stuff going on. That's it. If you didn't get what I'm talking about, I'm saying you need to do it all. Listen to everybody. When you go on YouTube and you see a guy, all he can talk about is how he's stockpiling gold, listen to him anyway. He's got some good valid points to make. The guy that all he talks about is AK-47, got a dozen videos about AK-47. Listen to him. He knows some things he's talking about, but keep an open mind. And remember, you need to learn from all these people and do everything in your power to be prepared. If you're wasting your day at Disney World, that's a day you could have spent trying to learn how to hunt or fish. The money you spent on Disney World, that's money you could have spent on rice and beans. Just try to use your head. Think everything through to its logical conclusion. That's all I got to say. This is Sustenance and Covering. Bye-bye.